If you're dying of cold in front of Rockefeller Center, clearly you must be wondering why we're touring at this time of the year. And the reason is, we just wanted to see how we would progress in our year of miniatures.
Paint that bench. Paint that bench. Get them 2 thin coats on it. Yeah, get them highlights on after the base coat. Yeah, it's Secrets of the Painting Bench.
Alright, welcome to Secrets of the Painting Bench. Semi-regular, let's just say a regular series where I talk about things behind the scenes in a very unstructured, unscripted way. And I don't really have a formula for these things. So normally with my videos, I just have a voiceover and I pair the voiceovers with images and video and such. But having an unstructured format will allow me to A, make this video far more quickly than I usually do, and B, I'm not going to say make things more authentic, but having an unscripted video means that you can see things in the immediacy of the moment. I mean, I intend to put this out with minimal edits, so at the moment I'm just working on my Ikki unit for my Ikki army, and yeah, so let's just do some streaming while I keep working on the unit. That's one way to do things. Okay, so I mean, I say unstructured, but there has to be some kind of like guiding underlying principles to what I'm talking about. Otherwise, what are we doing? I could just be babbling all day. So there is some structure. It's not entirely true. Let's talk about my current projects and maybe what's coming in the pipeline later. So this unit is gonna form part of the unit of Shrine Bearers, which I've already revealed. So I have a portable Mikoshi Shrine, and there are 8 bearers in the unit. So I normally structure or group my units around units of 8 infantry or 4 cavalry, because that's how many figures I can comfortably get on a standard basic impetus infantry base / cavalry base. So yeah, based on that, I've got 8 figures here, but the Mikoshi Shrine, the system for basic impetus allows, I forgot the name, but essentially I think like some of the stronger fanatic units to have a supporting weaker fanatic unit, meaning that there are 2 units co-joined together. And to replicate that, the issue is my current Mikoshi Shrine essentially has 8 figures, but they're not like in the traditional 4 in the front, because the way the shrine is longer than it is wide. So I've got it so like there are 4 figures on each side, vertical almost. So if I have 2 bases conjoined normally, then I should have 4 in the front. But that presents a problem with my current Mikoshi Shrine, which has 2 figures in the front, and it's 4 deep, which would fit well if it was 2 units. So my solution is to actually make 8 more people, but structure it 2 by 2 alongside the 2 rows of men in the Mikoshi Shrine, meaning it's, in effect, in game sense, it comes across as 2 units with 1 supporting unit and 1 main unit. That's how the basic impetus system works. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just trying to make 8 additional guys for that unit. That's for my long-term army, because I kind of want to use everything by the basic impetus basing system, just because basically I'm hard committed to having unit bases now, and I'm fine with that system. I don't want to stop. So that's how I'm going to do it. So these figures are... This figure in particular is made by Wargames Atlantic. Is a 3D print, but I've got a variety of different figures in this unit. This one is a red box sculpt, and I think it's based on the Osprey artwork for the Ikko Ikki. But also the armor looks quite like Takeda Shingen, so that's curious. I need to read the Osprey again. I've also got who is the seller? Paper Magician, I believe. Yes, Paper Magician on Taobao has a range of 1/72 Shinto priest miniatures, and he makes a variety of Chinese miniatures on his store. But he's also got Shinto priests, and they're very hard to get in the West. Like you're not gonna find them outside of Taobao. So if you don't have access to the Chinese market, I'm sorry, I'm not sure you'll ever get them. I believe this one is Kaiyu's Shuko miniatures. And he's a Buddhist priest, and the rest are... This is a red box, but the rest are Wargames Atlantic Ikko Ikki. So... Oh, I still need to do the arm bites. Okay, yeah, so that's my current unit. That's what I'm working on now. This is the unit as it stands currently. So I've been working on it, and there's been more detail added to the first rank. I'd say the first rank of figures are done, but unfortunately the back row are not done because this is taking longer than expected. So I'm thinking this unit is essentially an army of characters, much like many of my Ikko Ikki units, because they contrast with the Daimyo army by being irregular and ununiform. But these guys are an army of mavericks, and these four are essentially done, and they've taken ages, but I still need to do the back. And what I've realized about this army is I don't really like this army. I'm doing it because I have that giant in-person game in China. So I need to up my numbers of painted soldiers in order just to participate. There's a minimum 120 figure requirement for entry. Kind of like you have to be this high to enter. It's like you have to have this many figures to enter. And it's taking a lot of time. It's not great, but that's part of it. As I finish this unit, I realize that I don't love this army. And I think that's because the blended aesthetic of the Japanese samurai with Japanese peasants just doesn't do it for me. So my army is essentially a historical, because of the Mikoshi Shrine being born into battle would not have been a thing. My interpretation of the Ronin are pop culture interpretations. They would have just looked like samurai. My warrior monks would not have really worn the head cows en masse either. They would have looked like samurai. There wouldn't be makeshift weapons of bamboo spears and blacksmith hammers and such. It just wouldn't have been a thing because in the Sengoku Jidai, actual weapons would have been plentiful. They weren't banned yet, as in Edo. So my interpretation of the Ikko Ikki is very much a pop culture interpretation, not very historically accurate, and I acknowledge this. But I love this army because going halfway with the samurai aesthetics, having the armor, but then not having the helmet, not having the shin guards. I just don't love this interpretation. Painting samurai armor is already so time intensive, but only going halfway, not having the complete armored look, really doesn't do it for me. It's a personal subjective thing, but I love the complete look of the armored samurai, but going halfway does not give me half the affection for this unit. My interest is a lot less. So I'll finish it just to have the 120 figure requirements to play the multiplayer game. But I don't love this army. The aesthetics, the angle of religious fervor are not things that appeal to me that much. Why that is, I'd have to delve deep into my psychology. I don't know, like, how do you justify a love for aesthetics, you know? Like, I draw this analogy back to, like, loving music. Some people love certain tunes, you know, and you don't know why. There's, like, an instinctive, like, gravity pulling you towards, say, pop music, classical music, heavy metal, and you don't know why something appeals on an instinctual gut level, but it does, and that's aesthetics, you know. I always differentiate. You can admire and respect craft. You can say, for example, Faulkner, McCarthy, Hemingway wrote beautiful novels, and you can admire the technical craft of a sentence, but you don't have to like it. And I think music, the tunes of music, not lyrics, because lyrics you can actually say, well, this is more masterful than this. I think it's easier to quantify. But with taste, you can't really measure taste, can you? You can't separate it into the component recipe. You like the whole finished product, or you don't. And I don't love it. I will finish this army, but I don't love this army. After this unit, which is nearly done, I've done the 4 in the front, and I just need to add details to the back. I've got some peasants here, War Games Atlantic, small miniatures, Kayushuko miniatures. I like to blend different companies because it gives a different aesthetic, and I'm all about the aesthetics. Otherwise, why do miniature wargaming? So I think I'm pretty sure I'll finish. I'm almost certain I'll finish in time to get enough figures for the 120 requirement. But I don't love this army. I'm doing it because I'm painting the Ikko because they're easier to paint. They're faster to paint. Clothes are just easier than armor, because for my armor, I'm having light effects on the shoulders and the string. And Japanese armor just takes a long time for me. So I'll do this army. It will be completed, but I do not love it. It's like a child. That's a bit harsh. I also recently got together with a bunch of friends for a group painting session, and I didn't bring my Japanese troops because I had promised one of my friends that we would paint the Astral Claws Space Marines that I had. So I brought those, and I hadn't painted Space Marines in a long time. So painting those is my first Warhammer endeavor in quite a while. And it was a nice change. It's good. I've forgotten how big Warhammer models are, at least my ones, in comparison to my historicals, because my historicals are on a different scale, a smaller scale. But a tank it's a big thing. It's bulky. It's intimidating. And I quite like the Astral Claws as a chapter. I like the politicking, the empire building of the Astral Claws. I like the color scheme. I like the culture, and the kind of the transhuman arrogance of that Huron seemed to have imposed upon his culture. And I kind of like this idea that Huron, the chapter master, was this charismatic individual that was so charismatic, he essentially formed a cult of personality that overtook the centuries of tradition on his chapter. And you can kind of see it. It's kind of implied, but you can kind of see it because his chapter adopts his symbol, like the Tyrant's Claw, and starts using that in place of the chapter symbol. So it's almost like a cult of personality where they've disdained their centuries of tradition as a chapter to take on the personal heraldry of one person. And I was going to say man, it's not one transhuman. And that's a powerful idea and a powerful image. Not every evil thing in Warhammer has to come from chaos. I like, as I've gotten older, I appreciate the subtleties of human behavior, and I like having that imposed in the Warhammer universe. Alan Bly and the Imperial Armor books by Forge World were a highlight of great Warhammer writing for me, and I still believe that. So yeah, these Astral Claws I will eventually finish, but I need to do my Japanese first. But they've been started. I know how they're gonna go. I'm almost thinking, am I building this army just because I like the Huron figure by Forge World so much, because it's a beautiful figure, so imposing, the so characterful. You can see the lethal regality on this commander, but it's blended with the savagery, with the claws, like the organic claws on his lightning claws, because there's two sets of claws, but there's the organic kind, and I kind of like that idea. So there's a few ideas which I like for the Astral Claws, and I might even explore them in a video dedicated to them. But I'm kind of started the Astral Claws, and I will continue them at some point, I'm sure. And here we have Trench Crusade. So this is my Heretic Legion warband. I plan to do 2 actually, hence the 2 Artillery Witch sculpts. I actually prefer the proxy, to be honest, the unofficial version, because it's more understated. I think it matches the character of the Artillery Witch well, like the silent menace, like no need to be flamboyant with the flames and such. But I plan to do 2 armies, just because each army is so small that I can just do 2. And the figures are beautiful, beautiful sculpts. But this is also on the back burner because I need to do the 120 Samurai. I think I'm showing more ahistorical sculpts than in many videos. Everything I do is historical, but I didn't start historical. So I'm interested in the lore, the aesthetics of Trench Crusade. I like villains, always have. So I'll do this warband. They're just great sculpts. But I don't really have the time right now to really commit to this because of my current historical endeavors. So I'll get to it. I'll get to this, but I'll keep chugging along with my Chosun and my Japanese. But I want to say that I really do want to get to this at some point, and I'm sure I'll make a dedicated thing just for Trench Crusade. I know the Commander Bunker, who is one of my Patreon supporters, is also doing Trench Crusade, and we've been talking about it. And I'm very enthused with the general excitement in miniature wargaming culture around Trench Crusade. So I want to get on it. But painting is so time intensive that I know that I have to keep to a schedule, and I need to do the projects that take priority and precedence. But I'm excited. I want to do 2 competing Heretic Legion warbands, both of a different flavor. I'm thinking one is just a standard one, and one uses the Westphalia miniatures, the Heretic, their alternative Heretic Legion, just to have some different sculpts. And then obviously I want to do the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent. I'm just rotating my camera now because I don't want to pull out my other sculpts, but we're going in a circle. But yeah, I want to do the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent. I want to do the Black Rail. I want to do my version of... I want to do more villains as they come out. I'm sure there'll be great sculpts. Yeah, I love... This game will be my non-Asian faction game. I don't want to be the guy that just does Asian miniatures. The Imjin War is all Asian miniatures. So it's good that this game is primarily European. That's fun. Let's keep it that way. For myself, I think. For now. I'm tempted to kitbash a Ming Dynasty warband because I know what the aesthetics are, and I could combine it quite well with World War One. But I'm gonna try to keep this European just to have a different flavor. Otherwise, I'm just painting a lot of Asian miniatures all the time. So yeah. Okay, so this is Secrets of the Painting Bench and the unstructured ramblings of myself. Essentially, that's essentially what the series is. The only unscripted videos that I make, because everything else is tightly controlled and scripted. Oh, it's all artificial. Nothing's genuine, of course. I mean, I figure, look, I mean, it's a miniature painting channel, but this Secrets of the Painting Bench series allows me to just be unstructured and talk about whatever I want. And I think that's valuable in its own way because it's organic, you know, like I don't, I still want it to be essentially entertaining and funny because otherwise, like, why are we watching? Why are we here? We're here to, I mean, I don't think you'll learn any great painting techniques from me because there's so much great content out there in the broader YouTube sphere. Why come to me? I think my angle, oh, this is completely unplanned tangent. Here we go. What is my angle? I think my angle is that I do subjects which a lot of other content creators don't, like Chosun Korean miniatures, even samurai miniatures. Not many people do that. Classical Indians. I mean, I started that and I never really finished it, but it's on my mind. Like, I'm still thinking about expanding my classical Indian army. I haven't forgotten that. It's just finding the time. Because originally my miniature output schedule was doing the Celts. I finished that. Then I started the classical Indians because I'm interested in the culture. I really want to do many Indian armies, to be honest. I'm interested in that, but then I realized, like, oh, the Japanese samurai event is coming up. So I've known about this event for years, and I was like, okay, well, should I do the Koreans now so there's something to match against? So I didn't finish the classical Indian army / Mauryan Empire army for that reason. So jumped onto the Chosun Koreans, so to have like an anniversary for the Sengoku Japanese. And then I've abandoned the Chosun Koreans in turn because I realized, like, oh no, I actually have to get on the Japanese because painting miniatures always takes longer than I conceptualize in my head. I'm like, oh, I've got plenty of time. I can finish the Chosun Korean army and do a Japanese army. Now I've had to abandon it because I realized I do not have the time to do both, really. So it's full steam on the Japanese. And I think I'll get there. But we can talk about whatever. And so I'm going to talk about, last time I talked about Alien versus Predator. I forgot, was it like which one I prefer or which one's more deadly? But yeah, let's talk about something different. This segment, I can do multiple segments. I can ramble about a lot of different things. But let's talk about shall we say the transience of life and the mutability of meaning? Let's call that's the segment name, I guess. The transience of life and the mutability of meaning. Now, why are we talking about such heavy topics? Let's start talking about politics too. No, I mean, okay, so what's provoking this is one of my friends died relatively recently. And it happens, right? Like, life is temporal. None of us are mortal. People die. You're not expected to die. You're not scheduled to die until you're like old, or like it's been forecast because you have like, either like crippling injuries or you go to a war zone or something. You know, it's like, but generally speaking, if you live in a first world nation, you're not expected to die early. Now, my friend had been born with a terrible set of many terrible conditions. I needed surgeries like all the time. I think I could list some more, but from memory, like he couldn't. He was like half blind, and his vision was getting worse. So he could barely see. He got long COVID, so he couldn't talk because it affected his voice, and he couldn't breathe properly. And he had a bunch of tumors in his head, like straight up. Like his parents were like, he's got a bunch of tumors in his head, so he couldn't swallow. And essentially what happened was he was at home, and then he vomited, and then because of the tumors in his head, he couldn't swallow the vomit or something, so he died choking on his vomit. Now that is a very visceral and graphic image, but his dad went up to the funeral pulpit and was like, yeah, he died choking on his vomit. And I was like sitting there going like, is that what we usually say at funerals? Do we just like say the thing? And I went with a friend, he's like, no, that's not usual, that's not standard at all. I was like, all right, okay. So yeah, he died choking on his vomit, which is a graphic image. I mean, life is graphic, life is visceral. So I mean, I'm glad I got an accurate reporting of events, but like, wow, you know, like it's heavy. So that made me think about life, obviously. I think when you know, like your current concerns are usually shaped by your context and the events around you. And I mean, I've thought about meaning for a very long time. Like ever since the end of high school, I was thinking, why am I working? Why is all society geared towards like doing jobs you hate to buy things you don't need, in a very Fight Club-esque style philosophy. And I was introduced to Fight Club in year 3 because my friend had a dad who was doing his PhD on it. And so I watched the movie in year 3. I was young. I had no idea what was going on. But like I grew up and I read the book and I've seen the movie. And I mean, I'm essentially pretty anti-consumer. I don't hate consumers. Anti-capitalist. Personally, I've got nothing against companies trying to make a living, but you know, like everyone weighs in on certain issues in different ways. And like, yeah, like life is strange. Like sometimes like you can just be living and then not living. I'm not saying anything new under the sun, obviously. Like, you know, if you're an adult, you know this. If you're a child, you probably know this. But I think brushing up to death makes you reconsider your own sense of mortality. And the state, I mean, one thing which I do think about is whatever you think about death, it's going to happen. So you can react to it however you want, but your opinion is of little moment to the existential reality that you live in, which is fine. Like you hate it, love it, it's going to happen. So I'd rather live an informed life. I want to live a life where I thought about my issues which involve me, because I think living that informed life leads to a more satisfied outcome at the very end, which is hopefully not coming soon, you know. Hopefully not some random truck when you're least expecting it. But yeah, life is transient, life is temporal, life is unpredictable, and everyone dies. None of these are new things. I'm not going to say hug your loved ones. Like, why are you taking life? Like, I'm not that guy. But I do think, like, relating this to miniature hobbying, like painting miniatures for me is a giant time sink. And it's to me, I'm wondering myself, like, is this like a sunk cost thing? Like, am I painting more miniatures because I already have these miniatures, and so I feel the need to finish the army? But am I enjoying it enough? Like, is it a worthy use of my time? Well, according to my own philosophies, I'm an existentialist / nihilist. Nothing means anything. So one activity means as much as any activity because I'm not religious. So it's like, well, like, I mean, I wish I was religious. Like, that would be very comforting. Like, if there was some omnipotent being just, like, taking care of everything, that'd be great. I wouldn't have to worry so much. But unfortunately, nothing's convinced me that that is the thing. Like, I would like that to happen. That sounds like an amazing thing to happen. I just don't believe it. Unfortunately, I suppose. I'd like to, but I don't. So, with my current beliefs that, like, nothing means anything, and, like, I kind of just live a life without meaning, or a life of self-created meaning, and then I die, anything means as much as anything. So, I guess the only right answer is there satisfaction? Is it a worthy thing to do? And I suppose, like, building the craft of painting is worthy if it doesn't produce much of anything other than my own satisfaction, but that's fine. Watching YouTube can be considered worthy. You don't produce anything either, you're just entertaining yourself. But I mean, at least I'm honing a craft, which is good. But, you know, knowing that I have a limited amount of time on this earth, doing this giant, why am I staring off screen? I should stare at the camera, maybe, I don't know. But realizing like I have a limited amount of time, this giant time sink, should I do it? Well, it means as much as anything. I'm not good at science, but I could be writing a novel or something. Would that have more meaning? Only if I believe it to. So I'm enjoying this. It creates a craft. It's not hurting anyone. I suppose in the shortness of existence, it's as good as anything. So I might as well keep doing it. I feel like I'm not really leading to like a good conclusion, but I've never found a good conclusion to the seemingly very long stretch of consciousness that is just growing up. Like, I've never found a satisfactory ultimate goal that narratives like movies tend to depict. You know, a movie has a beginning, middle, and end. The protagonist goes on the hero's journey to fulfill a goal and seemingly wrap things up. But life is not like a constructed narrative. Life is, you do the thing and then you move on and you have to keep living. So I've never found, I've always wished that there was some ultimate goal. I could do this and then it's all complete and my story's written. But that's not how life is. Life is not a construct of narratives. Narratives are what we superimpose upon just everything that exists. This is my narrative. I'm called this. I'm born here. I live here. I'm trying to achieve this. And then you do that, and then you got to find a new narrative. And so, I suppose all this is to say, people, you know, you have a limited amount of time, and I think that nothing really means anything. So, do what you enjoy, as long as you think it's contributing positively to something, and make the most of it. Or don't, because it doesn't mean anything anyway. But maybe try to do good, even if it means nothing. Because, that's the meaning I've chosen. Nothing means anything. But I still like want society to be a better place. Like, even if nothing means anything, I don't think murder's good. Like, is it like, I still have I think there's a sense of morality baked into the individual. Inherently that murder's wrong. No one has to be told. You don't like images of suffering, or most normal people don't. So, is miniature making a good use of time? Who knows? You're not creating anything great. You're not changing human civilization, but most people don't. So figure it's as good as use of time as anything. But if you feel like you're wasting your time, then obviously don't do it, because it's such a huge time sink on something. You don't want to be using your limited hours on the planet doing something that you don't really want to do. So I don't have an ultimate conclusion, but I guess my conclusion is really that of the formless, barren existence that simply is, miniature making is entertaining enough that I am doing it currently, which feels like a very unsatisfying statement to make, but that's all I've got. Because it's hard to generalize. I can generalize. I can't say it's perfect for you, but it's good for me. Yeah, that's all I've got. Yeah, I don't know if this is a stupid segment now that I think about it, but it feels unsatisfying now that I finished it. But it's yeah, it's all I've got. I don't know why, but when I'm sitting down and I'm looking at the footage of myself, I look fat when I'm sitting down. I don't like. I mean, I think everyone looks fat because their belly folds, but I look fat. I'm not loving my own footage. Anyway, many thanks to my Patreon. Here we go, the Patreon segment. Many thanks to my Patreon supporters, the Command Bunker and Mikhail Belusov, for sponsoring my videos, being great hobbyists, and just being on the Patreon. Thank you guys. That's what we're going to be doing for miniatures. Rockefeller Center is completely irrelevant, but here we are.